A very good evening to everybody and a very happy new year to all of you. A very big gap between the last lecture of Organon philosophy. We were discussing regarding the Stuart Close philosophy, the chapter number 8, the General Pathology of Homoeopathy. And here, Dr. Stuart Close tried to explain the concepts of pathology in relation with the homeopathy. We'll just revise what we have learned. He has started the chapter with the concept of modern pathology. The pathology is divided into two parts, the general pathology and special pathology. The special pathology is again divided into two parts, the internal one, that is the medicinal or medical pathology, and the external one, that is the surgical pathology. But these are rigid concepts of the material pathology. From homeopathic standpoint of view, this is not the pathology. These are the end results of pathology. And what pathology is there is nothing but the causes of chronic diseases as explained and discovered by Hahnemann. So he tried to correlate this pathology in relation with the chronic miasms. Hahnemann was the person who started classifying the diseases as the Cuvier has classified the animal kingdom and Carl Linnaeus classified the plant kingdom. In the similar manner, he has classified the chronic diseases into the 4 different types, out of which first he has mentioned it is either occupational diseases or drug diseases. One group he has categorized under that heading, and then remaining are the true chronic diseases, out of which the first he has discovered was the venereal, that is syphilitic. The second one again a venereal, the psychotic, and third one non-venereal was the psoriatic. During Hahnemannian time, 7/8 cases were of psoriatic, non-venereal in origin, and only 1/8 cases were of venereal origin, out of which 60% were syphilitic and 40% were the psychotic. And then he explained the cause always lies over there in these chronic miasms. Whatever the cellular change happens to be there is the end result. Every disease, whenever happens, it always affects the functional state of the human being. And it depends upon the law of biological development. Functions create the organs, and that's why functions gets affected first, and later the cellular change develops. So he tried to explain the scientificity behind that, and at the same time, he tried to explain whatever the concepts are there accepted by the modern pathology were told by Hahnemann 50 years before. Then he has tried to explain the correlation of bacteriology with the homeopathy, and Hahnemann have explained about the cholera bacillus and the causes of communicable diseases in the form of acute miasms 50 years before Robert Koch have explained the cholera miasm or cholera Vibrio cholerae. So this is in advance. Many concepts which modern science has accepted later, because it was not possible for the modern science or those people to digest the concepts of Hahnemann. There was a doctrine of latency, and that doctrine of latency Hahnemann told very early. He explained that there is a big period, the patient is accustomed to the infection, but he never gets the disease unless and until the collateral causes are there. If the collateral causes are for, then it is possible to get a disorder. Otherwise, it remains hidden as it is. And that big period between this, he labeled by the name of latent period. Modern science accepted same latter. See the concepts one by one, which modern science has accepted, and all those things. Concept of metastasis was also accepted by the modern science later, which Hahnemann told very early. He explained that suppressed skin eruption leading to internal disorders is nothing but the metastasis. It is going from less important organ to the more important organ. It was a big thing which he has explained, and which was not accepted during his time, but accepted later by the modern pathology in the form of a thromboembolism, in the form of cancer, and then the concept of Hahnemann was accepted. Then he started explaining about the SORA and tuberculosis. The SORA and tuberculosis, again, he has explained the comparison. SORA is the main cause behind the tuberculosis, and he explained that the tubercular miasm is the product of SORA and syphilis. And many things are always common with the tubercular miasm and SORA, they are always common with each other. He explained the reason behind that tubercular miasm is nothing but the miasm which was there earlier labeled by the name of leprous miasm or leprosy. And leprosy and tuberculosis was having the same causes, mycobacterium. The genus is same, the species is different, accepted by modern pathology very later. So see, he was the considered to be a father of bacteriology in this way. And Close tried to explain, yes, these are the concepts which Hahnemann was knowing prior. And he was explaining the concept of individualization. He explained that individualization is the cardinal principle of the true pathology and true therapeutics. And that this is very important. In homeopathy, we consider individualization while treating all those chronic pathological disorders. We never labeled the name. We never labeled the disease. We never labeled, yes, this is fatty degeneration of the heart and this is the remedy. This is not so in homeopathy. Because our remedy never depends upon the name of the disease or the end products of the disease. Our remedy depends upon that individual. And that is because the disease is prior in his dynamics. Result is tissue. And that's why resultant pathology is the product of the disease which happens to be there internally at the dynamic level caused due to the chronic miasm, either sora, either psychosis, either syphilis. And unless and until collateral causes comes, nothing affects human being. And he has given the same example of tuberculosis. The tubercular bacilli enters in your body, remains inside your body for years together, and unless and until the collateral causes are present, it is not possible to get mycobacterium to affect the human being. And those collateral causes, he has explained the first cause in the form of predisposition, the second cause, which he has explained in the form of heredity, then he has explained about the constitution, and fourth cause, the environment of the patient. And these are four collateral causes. If they are four, then and then Mycobacterium tuberculosis is responsible to produce the tuberculosis. So see, this concept was not earlier accepted by the modern pathology. They were telling the people that if your Montos test is positive, you are having tuberculosis. And later on, they accepted it is not so. Montos test positive means you have tubercular bacilli in your body, but it doesn't mean you have tubercular disease. And this was very later accepted by modern pathology. And that's why the concept which Hahnemann tried to explain over there have a big importance. And we were on page number 105. Let us go with the next paragraph where he says different also is the kind of importance to be attached to the microorganism from the therapeutic standpoint. Bacteriology can never serve as the basis for the reliable and efficient therapeutics for the individual. Since the microorganism is only one of the many causes of the disease, the curative remedy for concrete resulting disease in the individual must correspond to the combined effects of various causes. So what he is explaining, if you want to treat any disorder caused because of bacteria, it is one of the cause. It is not the sole cause of the disease. It is one of the cause. And that's why if we consider that tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, it is a half truth. Because unless and until those four collateral causes are present, and for this Mycobacterium can't do anything. So constitution should be for, the predisposition should be for, the heredity should be for it, and last point, that is the environment of the patient should be for it. Then and then Mycobacterium causes the disorder. Same is true with the Salmonella. Whatever the water we consume and food we consume, many times there are Salmonella. They remains in our intestine and passes out without causing a disease, because collateral causes are not present. And that's why what Hahnemann says, if you are killing the Salmonella, if you are killing the tubercular bacilli with the help of antibiotics, is not true therapeutics. Because unless and until you treat those collateral causes, you cannot treat the patient completely. And this is the truth at present, because of which tuberculosis is not under control till today, because they are killing the bacteria and not the collateral causes. And this is what he wants to highlight over there. And then he says, the combined effects are manifested by the group of phenomena or symptoms which vary more or less in various individuals according to their conditions and circumstances. As the individual cases of every disease vary in their causes and conditions, and consequently in their symptoms or effect, there can be no specific general remedy for the disease. And what he says, as there are combined causes are responsible to produce the disease, every individual expresses it in a different manner because everyone's constitution is different, everyone's environment is different, everyone's predisposition is different. Predisposition means miasm. Everyone's heredity is different. And if there is a difference at all those levels, how can it be possible to get the same symptomatology? The symptoms varies from individual to individual. And if they varies from one individual to another individual, our treatment never remains to be the same for each and every patient, even though it is caused by the same bacteria. So if there are 10 patients of typhoid, our remedy depends upon symptomatology of that individual and not on the name of typhoid. If there are 10 patients of tuberculosis, we never treat that with the help of ATT, but we treat with the individual symptomatology of that individual. And this is what he explains, and this is called as a true therapeutics. Our therapeutics depends upon the symptomatology and not on the end products. And then further he says, it is at this point that the necessity appears for the general principle of therapeutics. What is needed is not general remedy for the disease, so long vainly sought, but general principle applicable to all the varying cases so that particular remedy needed by each individual may be found. The homeopathic system of therapeutic medication is based upon such a principle, and in that system, combined with rational, moral, hygienic, sanitary, sociological measures, is found the solution of the problem. See what he is explaining. The last sentence just underline. It is very important. Homeopathy treatment never depends upon the cause of the disease. We cannot label as this is tuberculosis, give him a rifampicin. It is not like that. Whatever our remedy is there, it depends upon what patient presents. It depends upon exactly what is the presentation, what is the characteristic with which the patient present. And not only that, he explains the homeopathic system of therapeutic medication is based upon such a principle, and in that system, combined with rational, moral, hygienic, sanitary, sociological measure. So it is not only the remedy which you are going to prescribe. All things which you have to take into consideration. The personal hygiene of the person is also important thing which one has to take into consideration. It is your duty to tell him regarding it. Many homeopaths overlook it. Many homeopaths I have seen, they prescribe the remedy. They never manages the case. And that's why many times many homeopaths fails. Hahnemann everywhere, Stuart Close, Hahnemann, Kent, Robert, if you read those stalwarts, then you'll find that they have explained that you have to manage the cases. All auxiliary measures plays the role. The role of sanitation is very important. You are learning the PSM, the preventive and social medicine. And role of PSM is always there when you treat such types of communicable diseases. It is your duty that you should prevent the diseases from affecting the rest of the individual. Hahnemann in the fourth aphorism defines that he should be likewise preserver of health if he knows the things that derange the health and how to remove them from the persons in health. See, the aphorism was very correctly mentioned over there, and that is what homeopathy played, role of homeopathy plays. He explains over there that it is rational, moral. Whatever you are giving, you are thinking behind it. You are considering everything, and then you prescribe. The hygienic, sanitary, and sociological measure. Last point is also important. If one person of tuberculosis is there with open case of tuberculosis, it is your duty to isolate that patient and not to get infected rest of the individuals or rest of children in the family. So it is your duty to ask the patient to isolate. It is your duty to ask the patient not to get mixed with people so that they get affected. So if you are dealing with epidemic diseases, your duty is again increased regarding the sociological conditions. And that is what is the homeopathy. Homeopathy is not just a prescribing for the patient, it is the prescribing for the patient as well as taking into consideration the community also. And this is what the Hahnemann explained way back. Later on, the preventive and social medicine developed in modern science. So this is a big difference. 200 years back, 250 years back, Hahnemann have written all those things. And later, these entities are accepted by the modern science. And that's why he explains he is considered to be a father of toxicology or bacteriology. And then he turns to the toxicological theory of disease, which Hahnemann explained way earlier. So next point, the toxicological theory of disease. Life as a state of existence has been defined as a continuous adjustment of the internal to the external relations. It is one more definition defined by the Close. There is continuous flow, the actions and reactions are going on. There are many factors enters in your body or acts on you and your body reacts. Till you adapt, you are in state of fail. Once you start not adapting the situation, you get disease. So it is a continuous flow of life is nothing but the continuous flow between the actions and reactions which happens with from the internal environment to the external environment. Every living organism is constantly exposed at every stage of its existence to influences from without. So every moment you are getting affected. Nowadays, at present time, present era, if you go with the Delhi and you'll find that there is a big pollution and people are suffering from the chronic respiratory conditions and people are reacting to the pollution which is very strongly increased over there. So there is continuous influence on the body from the without. Without means from outside. The known fact all tend to show that every manifestation of energy on the part of the organism is a reaction to some external agent or influence, or as it might be put, life as state of existence is the result of constant interaction between the living substance of the organism and the elements of the external world, between the individual and his environment, between the microsome and macrosome. See, there is continuous reaction from the outside entity and inside. Something enters, the dust particle starts to enter inside your body reacts in the form of sneezing. Something, some antigen goes inside your body, the body reacts in the form of antibodies. There is a continuous action and reaction, the flow, the process is going on. So microsome and macrosome, this is a very specific entity which he has explained. Microsome means some micro enters, tries to enters in your body reacts against it. The specific, exciting and efficient causes of diseases are relatively external to the organism. When a pathogenic agent gains entrance in the living organism, resistance is encountered, a reaction is excited, and the phenomena of that reaction representatively constitute the disease. What he explains over there how the disorder develops. The microorganisms gets entry in your body. Your body starts reacting to it. Whenever your general health is there, they never affect the human body. Human body removes them at the superficial level. It is our body's resistance, general resistance, because of which it is possible. If it is not too good, then this enters in your body, then starts affecting and your body starts reacting. The reaction to which we label by name of inflammation. Inflammation is nothing but the reaction given by our body against an antigen. This is simple reaction, antigen-antibody reaction. Disease, therefore, is the vital reaction of the living organism to the influence of an agent which is inimical to its welfare. So every agent which is inimical to your welfare means what? Every bacteria which is not useful for your body is inimical for it. So if it tries to trouble you, your body reacts. Inflammation happens. It is a result of resistance given against that antigen, against that bacteria, to which we label by the name of disease. Yes, it reflects in the form of symptoms, then it is disease. But this reaction is the internal immune reaction given against those antigens. In other words, disease is primarily morbid dynamical disturbance of the vital principle or power which animates the organism caused by the influence of some morbific agent external to the organism and manifesting itself by perceptible, sensorial, functional and organic symptoms. So he is explaining how these diseases develop. I will tell you a simple example and then you will understand that what exactly the concept of disease is there in homeopathy. For example, you are remaining in a certain environment where in the environment there are many viruses. Virus enters in your body and body reacts it at the external most layer without giving entry inside your body till you are in the state of health. This is going on up and on. There are many viruses around you and they enters with each and every breath and still you are in the state of health because of which they never causes anything to you. Your body is in a safe condition because main function of your vital force is self-preservation. But something happens in your life. Something happens means you are disturbed because of something. Your mind is disturbed. Some quarrel between something, someone have teased you, something has happened. And if this something has happened, and you are in a disease state, your vitality is not normal, you have reacted in exaggerated way to that situation, and at the same time, that specific virus enters in your body. Now, if you were in the state of health, it would have not caused anything. But now, this virus, to which already the human being is in a disordered state, the way he has reacted to the situation, in the similar manner, his body starts reacting to the same situation. And there is an antigen antibody reaction starts, the disease develops. So disease is prior to it in the form of dynamics. The dynamics are already altered because of which that microorganism is able to take entry and cause the disease. Otherwise, it would have not. And this is what he explains, the dynamic concept of a disorder. And this dynamic concept of disorder first always expresses at the sensation and functional level. So functions gets affected. And once functions gets affected, you get only functional symptoms. You're going to get symptoms which are showing, yes, there might be a pain, there might be some increased temperature, there might be a stitching type of pain, there might be a throbbing type of pain, there might be a neuralgic type of pain. All pains are functional. There is no pathology. There is nothing over there. And your body is reacting, and which is expressed at the sensational level and functional level first, without causing any cellular change directly. If it persists for longer time of duration, then your cell starts getting altered, and then later on the pathology develops. So it depends upon the same law, the law of biological development. The functions create the organ. So there is always a functional manifestation, and if they persist, they create the cellular change, and because of which the pathology is, the visible pathology comes. First, there is always a dynamic pathology, and once you know this is the dynamic pathology, then you must know how to treat that dynamic pathology with a dynamic homeopathic remedy. And then he explains over there in next paragraph, it is not sufficient to say merely that this is a morbid dynamical disturbance of vital force. That definition is correct as far as it goes, but it stops in the middle. To complete it, we must add caused by some morbific agent actually and relatively external to the organism. See, what he is explaining is very clear. He is explaining what is the disease. Disease is the morbid dynamical disturbance of vital force caused by some morbific agent actually or relatively external to the organism. For every internal effect must have an external cause, and vice versa, according to the universal law of cause and effect. From this point of view, all diseases may be regarded as intoxications. So he is explaining this concept that something tries to enter in your body and your vital force reacts, and this reaction to the external stimulus, if the vital force is in a disease state, it reacts in an exaggerated manner, producing a symptomatology, and the disease develops. So dynamic derangement of the vital force is necessary in order to get to develop a disorder caused because of external influences. Without that, it never causes. And that's why disease always develops primarily at that level and then later on expressed externally in the form of signs and symptoms. And this is called as functional development of the disease. So we'll stop over here. We'll continue with it tomorrow's lecture and we'll understand this concept in a more detailed manner so that you will going to understand what we have to treat, whether we have to treat the tuberculosis or tubercular lung, or we have to treat a patient at the dynamic level, deceased at the dynamic level with the help of symptomatology instead of treating the pathology. So our concept should get cleared, and if our concept is clear, then you are going to give the importance to the functional manifestations than the rigid pathology. So that's all for today, and we'll meet in the evening with one more remedy. I think last remedy we have finished or not, I don't recollect. If it is not finished, we'll continue. I think Natramur finished. So we'll discuss one more remedy in today's evening session at 8 o'clock. So that will be a again start for Materia Medica after a big gap, and we'll continue with the sessions. So thanks again for attending session, and I will now there will be, as far as possible, I will try to avoid the breaks. But still, many times it happens that OPD is too big. It's not possible to conduct lecture sometimes. But be there, and thank you. Thanks a lot.